Hello there. Let's address something, well, I suppose off the wall in a sense, but it may seem not relevant, but I believe it is relevant. Let's talk about the issue of morality, which I think is directly relevant to the Police and Crime Commissioner elections. And not because I wish to moralize. I am no better than the next person. Indeed, I take comfort in the fact that none of us is perfect. However, I believe that we all have to set the bar somewhere to aspire to some sort of benchmark. And I think that benchmark is, well, I think it's summed up in the word compassion. Any genuine standard of compassion is, in my view, predicated on placing an equal value on each and every one of us. An equal value on all, whether they are gay or straight or transgender, whether they are black or white, Christian or Muslim or Yazidi or rich or poor. We're all precious. There are, however, some for whom we have a particular duty, a particular responsibility. And here I would single out the vulnerable. The vulnerable in our society are the very old, the very young, the disadvantaged in other ways, the lost, the bewildered, the impoverished, those in ill health. And for those of you that are Christian, I would remind you, those of you that are Christian like myself, I would remind you that Christ himself, Matthew 25:36, added a further category to the list of those for whom we should have a particular concern and compassion. And he was talking of the refugee and the criminal. Else why would Christ commend us to welcome strangers and to visit those in prison? Or do you think only the righteous ended up in jail in Jesus' time? What I'm trying to say is that it does really matter. We set some sort of moral values for the young. The young in our society are the ones that are in difficulties very often because of the way it's human nature. You were in trouble when you were young. We get into trouble. All of young people, as young people, we got into trouble. Now it's time for us to show some care and concern for the young of this generation. And we just don't do that enough. I think that there is a role here for the Police and Crime Commissioner, which is why in a society in which, and to be frank, it is worse, in which there is binge drinking on a scale that we used not to see. There is drug use and on a scale that we used not to see. There is, and these do create social pressures. There is bullying of women, sexual intimidation. On a scale we used not to see. What is this something wrong with our society? Well, we live in a different society. There are other things that are far better, far better about the society in which we live. And in many ways, it's a much more compassionate and caring society. So it's not all bad news by any means. But I think the Police and Crime Commissioner can do something, which is why I believe I should, if elected, take certain steps. One of which, and this may sound strange to you, but I think we should write to every young person when they come to university or when they possibly when they graduate from secondary school, maybe when they come on the electoral roll. It's easy in some cases to identify people because, for example, if you come to vote, your name and address, your date of accession to the electoral roll for those coming of age at 18 is clearly indicated, and we can write letters to them in Devon and Cornwall. I think we should write letters to everybody in those teenage years, and just tell them from the Police and Crime Commissioner, tell them of their social responsibilities, because we do live in a society in which we need to care for one another. It's our duty, and it's an important duty. We have an obligation to the society from which we take so much. So this is one of the things I want to do, and if elected, you will see these letters going out, and I think, well, will they make a difference? I think they might. At least they'll strike some sort of bar, some sort of marker. We will set some sort of, well, some sort of standard. And I think that's important in society today. Anyway, I hope you understand that, because it's a policy we will introduce if I'm elected. Thank you.